Hi, I'm Sadek.
And I'm torn. All right. So it's been a hot minute since we've been on this shit. And it's not this episode, but soon it's about to be the 10 years anniversary of another podcast that we started a decade ago, Shades of Brown, and we're going to be doing an extravaganza of depression for it.
Okay,
And
that's one way to describe it.
I mean, what's a tech podcast in 2025? Do you want to be AI maximalist for 20 minutes?
Oh, no.
I can do that.
I mean, I could not even try to do that. Like, I feel like if I tried to do that, my brain would explode. So I think we should just be sad.
Depression is the better option versus AI maximalism. But here's the thing, all right? So I was going through old episodes, right? I got all the local files. We did a CMS change, and one of these weekends I'm going to go through and fix those old show notes because the WordPress to transistor migration did not keep the show notes in a nicely formatted way. So I'm gonna take time to go ahead and fix that. But here's the thing. Who told me and you in 2013, 2015, 2016, right, that using the word herp derp was acceptable? I just threw up a little bit saying that out loud. Who told us that was acceptable?
I don't know who told us it was acceptable. It might have been just something we picked up from, I don't know, IRC or the various online forums that we were hanging around in as teenagers. It sounds like one of those things that we would have picked up online somewhere. So yeah, let's leave that one in the distant past because that doesn't need to come back.
Yeah. Sometimes people are like, let kids make mistakes online. I used to be like, what do you mean? Kids don't make Oh, yeah. No, I get it now. I get exactly what they're talking about now. So that is our lasting legacy.
Speaking of
just
mistakes,
like Jeff Keighley.
Speaking of mistakes, it was Summer Game Fest. Now it was like a week and a half ago or whatever. And I did not watch the main event because I cannot stand watching Jeff Keighley talk. So I refused to watch that particular shit show, and it turns out it was more of a shit show than usual, which is impressive. And so we're talking about one specific incident. There was a developer. The developer, is he like the director of the game or the owner of the company or whatever? I forget what his job title is, but whoever he is, like the head honcho of the studio that's making a first-person shooter called Splitgate 2, came up on stage on the Summer Games Fest main event, Jeff Keighley, and he was wearing a hat that said a black hat, black baseball cap, make FPS great again. And turns out that is wrong fashion choice of all the things you could wear. I think that one is probably bad. I don't even know what to say to this. This is just and of course, like the person, like the developer did, like he didn't want to apologize for it. Like he wasn't going to apologize. So there's that. So what are your thoughts on? I mean, I'm not going to play Splitgate 2. I wasn't planning on playing Splitgate 2 anyway. But even if I had plans to like try it out, well, I don't really want to be doing that when the head of the company is like this.
So I have two thoughts. I'm gonna start with a funny one, and then we'll go on to the to a more serious conversation. This man Spotify Wrapped, Drake's the number one artist.
Okay. Yeah.
However, like FD Signifier said, people who, in general, like really ride for Drake, right? Not like you enjoy a few songs, but like really ride for Drake are losers. This guy is a loser. Now, to maybe engage in this discourse, even if I don't want to, is the FPS genre cooked, as as hopefully in the same way us saying herp derp was really cringe, and 10 years from now calling things cooked will also be really cringe in a decade from now.
Cringed. I mean, I don't know. Like the FPS genre is kind of, I feel like in a kind of stagnant era. I feel like it's like you have big games. Like you still have Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is still massive, right? You still have stuff like Warzone, right? You have the smaller games. You have the Battle Royale games. You have, Apex Legends, right? You have, Overwatch 2, and like, it feels like, I mean, you have some single player, and well, we were going to talk about the only notable FPS single player game, uh, later. That's
So
Doom.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second to say that you just described many games that are quote unquote first person with wildly different play styles, right? In order to say a genre is cooked, I would actually say the Souls-like genre is stagnant because they all play the fucking same, right? Mortal Shell, whatever Souls-like game, right? They're basically all similar-ish. You have some that are a mix, right? It's not Slay the Spire, but I know there's like one that's like a card game style, Soul Styles game that mixed together, which is really cool. But for the most part, in the FPS genre, you have games that are sure they're shooting, right? First person shooting, but the mechanics are different. Overwatch does not play like Doom. Doom does not play like Call of Duty. Call of Duty does not play like Halo. And even then you have all the indie boomer shooters that have been coming out recently, right? That like take that old style shooting game.
I think there's like, it feels like, okay, I'll say like a certain kind of first person shooter is kind of like not really.
Multiplayer shooters are stagnant. Like specifically multiplayer Destiny, Call of Duty style games, I would say there's not innovation in. But when you move more towards the indie games, the single player ones, there's actually a lot going on there. And here's the thing, all right? I feel like guys like this, they want 2008 Halo 3 to come back. I think that's what men like this are chasing. A lot of people online, right, when they talk about like, oh, don't you miss the good old days in Xbox Live, blah, 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 blah. It's like Halo 3 when you're 15 and it was acceptable to say slurs. Like, I just feel like that's what they really want. And given the political leaning of this man, I'm sure he'd love to say some things that he cannot say nowadays that he could back then.
Yeah, there's like a certain, I mean, it's got to the point where like a lot of the people who are making these like games or whatever now, FPS games, like grew up playing Halo, right? Halo multiplayer and like Call of Duty 4 and all that. So like there's a certain like nostalgia that's coming back into this genre. Like, I mean, the boomer shooter is probably like the most obvious example of like a kind of nostalgia. But like in the higher budget space of first person shooters, like there's a certain nostalgia for that era of first person shooter. Which I don't know. It's like a kind of like a roast into glasses thing. I don't think those games are that good or whatever. Right. Like, I'm not saying that Call of Duty 4 was bad. I'm just saying that I think people kind of like overdo on the nostalgia of those games. Right. And I kind of want to like move away from that. And like, I kind of want to move away from hero shooters as well. Things like, you know, Overwatch and like Marvel Rivals or whatever. Like, I feel like I just want like a single player campaign shooter with decent multiplayer. And like that doesn't really exist anymore, right? Like that used to be Halo and it doesn't exist anymore. So that's a kind of like, that's the part of the FPS genre that's like kind of cut. Because nobody's making those games anymore.
With Mr. Splitgate 2, actually, you're asking about what his position was. Well, I mean, we know what his positions are, but what his actual position in the company is. He's co-founder / CEO. So that says a lot. You know, I'm trying not to be bitter, but I'm going to be bitter. There are some job titles that tell you a lot about a person's personality more than you think it would. Co-founder, co-CEO, one of them. Chief Innovation Officer, another one. Chief Creative Officer, right? Like that says a lot about what you do at your job, and more importantly, what you don't do at your job.
I feel like there's a lot of people working, and the company's called 1047 Games. And I imagine there's a lot of people working at this company that are like extremely like, they're like fine people, and they like look at their CEO just go on stage and like take a massive L. And it's like, it's gotta feel bad for like people who are like working at this company, working on this video game, right? Like you gotta be like, very demoralized by your CEO just going up on stage and being a massive jack. Like, it's just like, can you imagine like being a person like working at this company and you have like your CEO just like do this, and instead of people talking about your video game being cool or whatever, it's like people talking about your CEO being a loser. So that's not great. So
Speaking about people being losers, though, let's talk about the British.
okay.
Okay, let me take a step back here. I feel like it's been a thing to dunk on Europeans forever. I want to be extremely clear. All right, so the fine people of Europe, Britain, I'm still including you as a part of the Europe general related place because only like 48% of you voted to exit Brexit because your politics are as fucked as ours over here in the States. What I'm talking about when I dunk on the British, I'm specifically dunking on the monarchy, and I will also dunk on the American monarchy at any time of day. And these two are actually connected for once because there's an awesome game which I'm absolutely going to be checking out as soon as it drops called Relooted. It's a game about reclaiming African artifacts from Western museums. And if anyone's watching this during Summer's Game Fest, Summer Game Fest, I guess, you likely were wondering, that's some random white guy delivering the announcement. And basically the story here is that the U.S. government would not issue them a visa. I'm not going to go too political on this because we can really have a whole discussion on South African white genocide. I can't even say that shit seriously. But basically, I think this is actually like a microcosm of Summer's Game Fest, right? Because you can't really have a discussion about Summer Game Fest if you're about talking about the protests in LA right now, right? Like it would be ignorant of us to be like, oh, let's talk about cool video games. It's not, recognize what's going on outside. And I think this is like an intersection of that where this development team, obviously of color, different backgrounds, right, different ethnicities were coming together to make this game. And
yeah, so let's mention the name of the studio. They're a studio called Nyamakop, based out of South Africa, with people from various African countries like Lesotho, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Tanzania. So this is like a very African team and making a very African video game, right? Like they're making a game about reclaiming stolen artifacts. So
yeah, and the gameplay itself looks awesome. It looks like, you remember that old mobile game Cannibalt?
I don't, but I can sort of
pull up a screenshot of it. You probably played it. It's like that. It's like side scroller, right? But like speed and jumping is like the focus of the game. Like a lot of this gameplay seems like you're running really fast, going through obstacles, right? Platforming, all of that. It looks awesome, actually. It really does look cool. I love the visual design of it. And as I've said before, I'm more than here for raiding a British museum.
I just think, this game like caught. I think a lot of people saw this game just like it was kind of like it stood out because of its premise, right? Like it was like explicitly making a point about like reclaiming African artifacts, and like it was very clear, like the developers in the video, and they were explicitly talking about this. Like, so it's like the politics of this game is like very upfront. Like it's not trying to hide it. So yeah, that's cool. I like to see that. I put it on my wish list so I don't forget when it comes out. I'll be checking it out. We want to talk about.
I feel like obligatory fuck ice here. Just feel like we need to.
Yeah, fuck ice forever. Abolish ice. So there's our. I mean, we could go into that, but there's like so much there. Like I feel like I'm not qualified to go into it because.
I mean, we don't have to go into it, but I feel like it's actually, I genuinely believe that this is one of the few things that we don't need to have a nuanced discussion on because militarizing customs is fascist. Like I think you could just say that with zero consequence because that's a true fact.
Yeah, anytime a government deploys armed forces to subjugate protests, that's a pretty telltale sign of fascism. So yeah.
But speaking about quasi-fascist organizations, fandom.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that segue.
Let's try that again. Speaking about quasi-fascist organizations, Valnet.
Probably. I mean, I don't know about that.
Was a little more acceptable.
Maybe. I don't really know much about fandom as a company. Really, like, I know they like.
Also, I feel like because Valnet is litigious, I feel like we have to say allegedly. Of course, this is all a work of fiction, unless stated otherwise.
So we have like a couple of games media news stuff that games media stuff like events that happened since we last did an episode of Voxels. Two things. First one is Giant Bomb goes independent. So Giant Bomb was owned by I mean it was like it went through multiple owners. Like it was like I think it was originally independent, then it got bought by CBS, and then CBS sold it to fandom, right? And then now the two of the founders bought the company back from fandom, so now it is back to being independent, which is cool. That is the good news. Good news for
Also, I feel like we should just point out who fandom is. Some people might not know who fandom is, especially if you're on Fetty. Fandom, as I like to call it, the best way to test an ad blocker is a wiki service that also owns gaming media like GameSpot and other media outlets. And fandom has sometimes you're like, I do this all the time. I will watch a new anime, right? And I'm like, I want to, I'm okay with some spoilers. So I'll search like a wiki for it. And you always get a fandom, right? And the fandom is nothing but ads and like 2 pages of no actual useful information because no one's bothered to fill it out.
Yeah, and the thing is, unfortunately, I mean, there are some good fandom wikis, and it's unfortunate because, for example, this is sort of relevant to me specifically, is Memory Alpha, which is like the biggest Star Trek fan wiki, is on fandom. Like and Memory Alpha is like really fucking good. Like it's really well maintained, and like if you want to know anything about Star Trek, like you go to Memory Alpha. And it is on fandom. Like, so every time I have to like look up something Star Trek related, like I'm on a fandom site because they have sort of, so they're sort of like monopolized like the online fan wiki space, basically. Like that's the thing that and obviously they serve ads on it, and that's how they make money, right? Like it's like page views and ads thing. So yeah, it's the fandom is not a like company that anybody likes, I think. Because they're just kind of like they're just kind of like sitting there eating this like they're like landlords over this wiki space. So yeah, it's good that Giant Bomb is its own thing because I think it's weird for fandom to have acquired Giant Bomb because it doesn't really make sense, right? Like I don't see how, like I think that's probably why they like let it go, because I think like fandom as a company and Giant Bomb as like an entity and a brand or whatever, like isn't really compatible. Like it doesn't really slot in to what Fandom's doing, like what Fandom does and how Fandom makes money, right? Like it doesn't really like I don't see why Fandom even bought it in the first place. But maybe it was just cheap. Maybe CBS wanted to get rid of it as well. So
it's centralization of media properties is the end game, I feel like, right? Because in the past it was you own more media properties, you can just have more websites to put ads on, right? Like you buy Giant Bomb because Giant Bomb pulls page views, right? And you throw a lot of ads on it, or they have high YouTube numbers, so it's a media property, more advertising, right? So when you do brand deals with like Xfinity or Shake Raving or Shake Shaving, whatever the Shake Hydro bot from like 10 years ago was, in Game Awards, I forgot, Game one of them is, yeah, like they have bigger wider audiences, right, that they can pitch the brands. So that's really why you buy it. Nowadays, though, you also buy a lot of this because when OpenAI comes through and you want to make a deal with them, you can get more money because you own more properties that can be fed into random AI LLM models.
that's like it's like a volume thing, right? Like you're just putting more volume of quote unquote content into like the ads machine, into the LLM thing. Like it's like you're just hoping that. And the thing is, by the way, ad revenue has dropped off a cliff. I don't know if you know. I mean, you probably heard about this, but like ad revenue is down, like for everybody. Like every site that is like funded by ads. Like you ask anybody who runs ads, it's like ad revenue is down. So the only way to make up for that is to just have more sites and more ads, right? So it is kind of a bad time to be in like the online publishing industry because it's it's looking kind of bleak. So speaking of things that are like really bleak, Giant Bomb going independent was good. Was one of the good news things. But Polygon being sold to Valnet, which is like this massive media corp that owns like Game Rant and a whole bunch of other sites, and it's doing the thing that we were talking about is like it just buys a bunch of sites, right? And
lays off the staff. Like Polygon has 4 people, I think, left working at it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good reporters and like journalists and like people doing really really good work. People like Nicole Carpenter who got laid off, right? And Nicole Carpenter is like doing her own thing now. Like it's like they just buy sites and use the brand to drive traffic, right? Like that's the goal of Valnet is to just drive traffic to sites filled with ads, and that's how they make money. And it's not, and then the thing is like they run these sites really poorly. They have a history of treating their staff really poorly. All kinds of stuff coming out of Valnet. That's Valnet is just like the end goal of these like big media corps, like to just have like content farms essentially. Like it's a content farm business, right? Like that's the business. If you're looking for like a name for it, it's like content farm. Like these are just content farms. And like to a certain extent, everybody plays the content farm game. It's like when Polygon was on like Vox Media, like they were doing articles that like were like kind of like those listicles or whatever. Like everybody does those, right? Like where you're like, this is just for traffic, like like where to watch X TV show at what time or whatever. Like those kind of sort of like SEO bait articles. So like everybody does that, but like
yeah, they're like the two kind of articles. Like I think WordPress lets you do this now, right? You can publish content but not include it in the main newsfeed on a page, right? You literally just publish it just for it to be picked up by Google.
Yep. Yeah, it drives search traffic because that's how you get people on your site and you get traffic and you get ad revenue. So that's a lot of it is quote unquote SEO driven. So that's I feel like I've never like a big Polygon reader. Honestly, I don't read much games media anymore. I read like reviews on Rock Paper Shotgun and that's it. Like, but I like it's sad to see like another like company or another good decent like games outlet be kind of like just taken apart for scraps. Like it's just a sign of the times where the money is like gone, and it's like it's increasingly like these companies are like squeezing harder on the existing people. Like they're paying less, like they're not going to give you full-time jobs. It's going to be contractors. Like it's just bad. Oh, we have a link about what is that?
Yeah, I just put this in the show notes, which you can always find at voxels.fm. So basically, I use Polygon a lot for their guides, actually. Do you know how I beat Breath of the Wild? It was those fucking shrine guides.
Yeah, it was guides. No, I actually forgot about this because I haven't played a game where I used a guide in a while. But whenever I look up guides for stuff, like the Polygon links are usually the best ones. Like I like using the Polygon ones. It's either Polygon or IGN. Right? IGN guides content is also pretty good. So yeah, guides is big traffic for these sites as well. That's another
right. So I used a lot of the guides from Polygon. And the reason I want to put that in there is because, yes, there's a lot of good games writing, right? There was a lot of good stuff. And they also, I mean, every website does it. The Verge and other sites, like, they'll do it too, right? They'll play the SEO game. But Polygon did have a lot of great guides. And a few of the guides writers started a new site called Big Friendly Guide, aka BFG, which I love as an
it's
acronym.
Great name.
It's a great play on words there. But the idea, though, that they're trying to push is can paid guides be a thing? Which I don't know, because let's ask each other the honest question: would me or you pay for a video game guide? I'm unsure. To be honest, of all the like media subscriptions I have, I don't know if I would.
No, I don't. And this is the thing, right? Like, and the problem is not just like will we pay for it? It's just that the market for guides has been for so long is that you you search for a guide and it's like you go on IGN and you see it for free. Like that's the expectation. Nobody is like the market is not like, oh, I'm going to pay like, I don't know, like a few dollars a month for a service that gives me guides to the games I'm playing. Like that's not a thing that I think has existed ever. Oh, that's not true. Guides is a thing that you buy, used to be a thing, but it hasn't been a thing.
And here's a bigger issue too, right? About like the guides businesses. Like Google has AI mode, right? I just put in, how do I get the Master Sword in Tears of the Kingdom? Spoilers for Tears of the Kingdom, I guess. I will put a chapter marker here for spoilers, but it has the correct answer. And it's citing all the guide sites, right? So I guess I could link through to the guide site, but why do I need to do that? If it just tells me exactly how to get the guide. So that like, how is BFG one? I mean, it could be paywall, but then no one's going to read it unless people who know it exists. But two, it's just going to be scraped by an AI bot. So I don't understand how you can have I really wish they can make this work, but given the media life, like how media is in 2025, I'm unsure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hope. Yeah, the thing is, a good like guide site is worth its weight, but it's like also at the same time, like it's hard to make that like a thing that you can support like people doing the work, like because writing guides is very hard work. Like it's not easy work. Like it's a lot of grueling work. You're playing games in a way where you have to like, make sure you understand the games in a way that you be able to write the guide for it. And it's like it's a different kind of work, and it's hard work, and it's kind of like thankless. So it's like I don't know, man. It's bleak. It doesn't seem, but I hope for the best with these like sites that are kind of like trying to like Big Friendly Guide trying to do like a nicer version of a guide site. Like maybe it's sustainable. I don't know. It's to say.
It's because too, I'm looking at their Twitch, right? Or not the Twitch, sorry, their Patreon. And it's got the same thing Remap does, where it's like we make a podcast, we do some written articles, but then we also supplement it with a lot of streaming. And I feel like that's gonna crash eventually. Like the whole, I do a podcast sometimes, I do a newsletter, and I stream all the time, and you can support that. How many people can be supported from that in a sustainable way?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's like how many people have like, and the thing is, and it's not just like the ads revenue market is down, or like it's everything is down. Like the economy is like people don't have money, people don't have jobs, people don't have income. So like how much money is there to support these like independent publications? Like, Giant Bomb has gone independent. Like, Giant Bomb already, and the thing is, Giant Bomb is a name that people already know. This, they already have an existing name recognition, and people are already supported. Like, people have already been supporting.
Like, Giant Bomb is so successful, they don't have an about page on their website. I was unfamiliar with Giant Bomb, and I watched some of their stuff, so I got it eventually. It's personality-driven games content, but nothing on their website tells you what their mission is or what they are. And maybe it sounds cheesy, but I'm like, oh, I want to check out this Giant Bomb thing. I was so lost when I was checking out their website. And also the thing that we're also hitting a wall against is what kind of content can you get if you don't have a big organization backing it, right? Because the idea of having a big news house like Polygon, The Verge, whatever, is you have legal coverage to do investigative pieces. Remap is never going to do investigative pieces because they don't have the funds to have a legal fund in case someone comes at them. Ditto for a lot of these other smaller personality-driven ones that are coming out. So that's the bigger issue where it's like Ars Technica, right? I think me and you both pay for Ars Technica. And the reason we pay for it is that they do a lot of in-depth investigative work that you can't sell ads against it, right? There's no personality driven, maybe for a Beth Ball article, but for like some of the other stuff, right? Like it's not something that you can like make personality driven and not be the thing that people will pay for it, because it's not what you're looking for. I'm looking for like an investigation on why like this research paper about a new AI thing is bullshit, right? Like I don't, what are you going to sell ads against that? Or like you can't fund that with Twitch streaming.
It's like there's like, it feels like people are trying to like, it's like the people who are already successful here, like Giant Bob, like they can kind of leverage that success that they already had and build that independent thing going. like same thing with like Remap, like a Remap coming from Waypoint, and Waypoint was started by people who were like already known in the industry and whatnot. Like it's like, how do you, like, people who are not big personalities, like how many people know who the guides writers are, right? Like you don't get famous writing video game guides, right? Like you're not, like it's not a personality, it's not a personality driven content style, right? Like it's like very functional. Like how do you sell that? Like if you're trying to sell on personality, like how do you do that, right? Like, and that's the thing, like trying to do streams, podcasts, people will listen to podcasts and streams because they like somebody on the podcast or on the stream or whatever. Like, and that's like on the guide side, like I don't, like I'm no offense to anybody doing this, because it's like I get it, like it's you gotta do like Twitch streams, podcasts, just to get your name out there, but like it's like slim pickings for audience capture, right? Like how do you get that audience, like that initial audience to build on? Yeah. And how many people are going to pay? How many people are going to pay? Like I don't know, like $5 a month, right? Like just to throw out a number, like how many people are going to be willing to pay $5 a month? How many times are they going to? How many sites are they willing to pay $5 a month for? Right? Like it would increasingly people having less money to spend on stuff like this, right? So it's like,
especially too when it's more personality driven. So and to be clear, what I'm about to say, please don't take this as I don't think Remap is less valuable than say 404 Media. But if I have like, I have a budget set for subscriptions I could pay for a month, right? And if I'm going to look at, what do I prioritize? I'd prioritize like a Verge or 404 Media before a personality driven games thing, just because the work, the longer lasting effects of the investigations that 404 does are more widespread, right, than, the great content Remap does. They're different things, right? 404 does investigation stuff that leads to like Civic AI or whatever, like shutting down their image capabilities because they get cut from payment processors, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they have impact. Like they're doing journalism with like capital J journalism with like impact, right? Like they're going in, like talking to sources, like, doing the digging, doing the like FOIA requests, like, getting in there, like, getting, like talking to government officials, talking to people, like talking to experts, like doing the hard, like capital J journalism work that you need to do like that kind of stuff. And like that stuff is like, it just like it has more impact. Like 404 Media's output has more impact. And like, it's like what you prioritize. Like thing is, like I can, like if you're talking like dollar for dollar, like the 404 Media subscription is way more quote unquote valuable than like my Remap Radio subscription, right? Like it's like the Remap Radio subscription is like, I like listening to a games podcast, and that's the only one I can stand to listen to anymore. So that's the one I'm going to be paying for, right? Like, so it's like, yeah, it's kind of 404 Media, Remap Radio. Like there's other sites like that who are trying to build more niche content, like this, like I know there's like a tabletop. We talked about this back when this happened. Like there was a site called, I think, Rascal News or whatever.
Yeah,
like
Rascal News for tabletop stuff. Yeah.
Tabletop. Like there's sites like these that are doing more niche sort of, there's like money to be made there, I suppose, but like it's a small market and it's by nature, it's like, how do you get your name out there? How much are people willing to pay for it? Like, yeah, the economics of it are not great. That's all. Basically, that's the gist of this discussion, is that it's like, it's hard to get funded by ads because that requires massive traffic, and revenue is dropping that way. And it's hard to get a like initial subscriber base if you want to do a subscription based business, because, there's existing things that people are already subscribed to, and people are not willing to like pay, like, I don't know, $5 or $10 a month for your thing as well. So it's like, how do you get that? How do you pay people? That's
especially too, honestly, this is something I've been noticing a lot recently. A lot of perks, right, for, let's say, Remap is you get the ad-free podcast, you get all of that. But what a lot of these podcasters are having to do now to get more people to get involved in their podcasts, especially because of how fragmented like Mastodon, Blue Sky, and all that stuff is nowadays, is having to upload clips to YouTube. And I genuinely think we now have like a lot of people who just interface with like Remap or other outlets by clip shows on YouTube and nothing else, right? Like, I feel like that's something I've kind of been seeing some people talk about, where it's the linking off platform, right? Jumping off platform in these centralized services is a lot harder than it used to be back when like Twitter was the thing people used, because Twitter was mostly like text and links, right? So now that you have like TikTok being a marketing avenue, whatever dumb stuff Meta's doing, right? YouTube, all of that. It's those platforms make it a lot harder for someone to jump off platform and go to a Patreon feed or a dedicated RSS app or whatever, right? And so you get even more lock in, and you get stuck to whatever the ad rates that YouTube's paying for, and those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's like you want to be on those platforms as well, because that's the only way your names can, like you can get your, like you just hoping like a clip or whatever goes viral, and that leads people to your like site or whatever, right? Like, and that's like that's the game you're playing, but also at the same time, people don't want to leave those sites. Like they don't, or rather, the sites make it really difficult, as you said, to leave them. So it's not the game is not meant to be like, the game is rigged. It's against sort of sustainable media companies. So there's that.
Make a website. That's I think the way to sum this up is just please make a website. Domains are not expensive. Like WordPress, whatever. Okay, you don't like whatever. Use Ghost. Use something like just make a website. Stop fucking putting the menu to your new restaurant as a photo on Facebook. That shit makes me angry. Just fucking put it on a website. Even if it's a PDF, I'll take a PDF. Just put it on the fucking website.
Yeah, I'll just take a PDF. It's fine. Yeah, just put it on a website, please. Please. Websites are, still cool. I promise.
Use an RSS app. Use Reader, Feedbin, whatever. Use an RSS reader. I feel like we just have to keep repeating this whenever we talk about independent media. Fuck Google News. Yeah, I don't know what this is. This is turning into rant hour. What else do we got? We got games we're playing. So actually, speaking about rant hours.
So there is we were talking about first person shooters earlier. There's a new one that came out, or the new single player first person shooter, which is like a AAA like first person shooter, which is rare. It's a rare event. Is Doom Dark Ages. And I haven't played this one yet, and I'm curious how much of it did you finish it, or like are you still like going through it? Like how is it?
Oh, you're gonna fucking laugh at me. Actually, let me pull this up. So yes, I was in the middle of Doom the Dark Ages, and it went down for maintenance on GeForce Now. It's been unplayable. Let me pull this up here. How long has it been unplayable? Dark Ages. I'm looking at GeForce Now right now. Oh, it went back up today. I swear to God, as of yet, for the past week, it was down for maintenance. Because every time you'd open the game, you get an old driver error, and NVIDIA said they had to take the game down to fix that error. So I was halfway through the game. I was actually on chapter 12, 14.
Okay. So okay. So I mean, halfway through the game is like enough to like, I guess, like have like more definitive thoughts about like how the game feels to play or whatever. So how are you feeling about the Dark Ages? You played 2016 and Eternal, right? Like I remember we talked about.
Remember, just meme here. I'm the only person. No one else did this. I'm the only person to beat Doom 2016 on the Switch.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I remember. And
Doom. What's it called? The Eternal. I beat that on, drum roll please, Stadia.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, that was on Stadia, right? Rest in peace. That was.
And once again, continuing my trend of not playing Doom on the hardware platforms you really should play them on. I am playing the Dark Ages on GeForce Now right now, the 4080 tier as God intended. So honestly, the reason you can get away with this, like all memes aside, is the fact that it really, really, it's the same thing with Destiny, and Bungie. Input latency is like the top priority in their games, which really is how every developer should be. I don't know why people are not like hyper focused on input latency. It's like the same reason, right, that like scrolling on this is like back a decade ago. Nowadays it's pretty much the same between Android and iOS, right? But like on older iPhones that didn't have great hardware, scrolling was just so much better because Apple focused much more on input latency than Google used to. Nowadays it's about the same. I don't think a lot of game developers recognize how much of an impact minimizing input latency has, because a lot of their dev machines, right, are high refresh rate G-Sync monitors. So it kind of masks a lot of what you have versus playing it on, like a TV with really with like not great picture response rates and that kind of stuff. But going on to Doom Dark Ages though, so Doom Dark Ages is the third entry in like the new Doom like trilogy, right? And I appreciate that the past Doom games have switched up the mechanics each time. So it's not like Doom 2016 like Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is a lot more platformy. And Doom 2016 or Doom Dark Ages, rather than like jumps and stuff being prioritized, it's heavy. It's a lot more. There's parrying. There's a shield. It brings a kind of dance to first-person shooters that you normally only see in like Souls-like games with parries, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because sometimes like parrying makes people just run away. Honestly, it gives you more options to tackle an encounter, right? So you have shotguns, machine guns, like plasma rifles, different kinds of weapons, but because you also have a shield and a chainsaw, you can tackle a situation differently. You could go up and just throw your sword at everyone, take out a few people, and while they're stunned, lock them out, right? Or you could parry attacks and then just bash people with your chainsaw. Or you could just do classic shotgun style run and gun. And
yeah, so it's like a slower pace. Like, oh, not slower. Maybe it's like more.
It is slower pace, but the accessibility by this game is fantastic because there's a game speed option. You can lower the game from 50% to 200%. So by default, is it slower than 2016 Eternal? Yes-ish, but the game gives you the power to just bump up the speed. If this is too slow for you, you can bump up the speed of everything and make it go super crazy if that's really how you want to live your life. So I respect the fact that they have that. They have a lot of great accessibility options in the game. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. I like how it is more cinematic. I have not beaten it yet. A lot of people are saying Eternal's a better game, but there is no enemy as annoying as a Marauder in this game.
Oh yeah, we talked about this when we talked about Eternal back years ago. Is the worst enemy design I've had to encounter in a first person shooter. And that, I mean, like that's one of the worst. Like Marauder is legitimately like I feel like it really ruined Eternal as a game for me, because of it's the way the enemy just kind of broke the flow of the game, right? Like it just kind of broke the way you normally play the game. So, anyways, like Eternal was like I had some like other than the Marauder, I felt like it was trying to do a lot. Like it was so much of it was just like ammo management and like switching between different enemies that have different weaknesses, right? Trying to switch between a bunch of weapons. It felt a little bit overwhelming. Like it felt too much. Like Eternal was trying to do a lot of things. It also had to try to do first person platforming, which never, like nobody has done first person platforming well. Like I'm just gonna say this like right now. Like I don't think there's a game that does like a first person shooter has done like first person platforming like well. Like it never works. It never works. And Doom Eternal was a bunch of that. So yeah. I'll probably try this sometime.
I feel like you would like the Dark Ages more. I feel like the Dark Ages more because it really is run and gun, and you just I just can't like describe in words without having you play it how tanky you feel in a good way. So for example, let's say you actually jump from like one platform to another, right? Like you're jumping a story. When you hit the ground, you feel it in the vibration. Everything shakes and it kills all enemies around you. Like, that's how like weighty you are, right? Where like a big jump is actually an attack because of just how tanky you are.
So you feel more like Master Chief than like the Doom guy before in the previous games. Like you're more.
Yeah, if you feel more like Doom guy in like Doom, like the older Doom games, right? And not in a bad way, but it's just it's chunky. It's I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, no, I kind of understand. Yeah, so like it feels like your character has like a bit of weight to it. Like it doesn't feel as floaty as like I guess like Eternal did or like even Doom 2016, where you're moving around and felt kind of like you're kind of floating. Like you felt like you're faster than a character your size should be. Like you're moving around really fast in those games. Yeah. So Okay. I mean, I kind of want to check it out. I just haven't like been in the mood to play Doom, I guess. But at some point, I wanna check that out. Speaking of, oh man, this game, this is just gonna make me sad again. Talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and man, I was looking forward to this one. Like this is like this game got delayed, multiple times. And which is fine. Like this not. I was like originally it was supposed to come out last year, but it did not. It got delayed to March of this year. Uh, and I, it's I was like cautiously optimistic that I might enjoy this because of the sort of setting of the game is like the samurai shit. I love samurai stuff, so I was like, all right, excited. Set in Japan, which has been like a thing that I've wanted. I mean, a lot of Assassin's Creed fans have wanted a game, a AC game set in like feudal Japan with like ninjas or samurai or whatever. So it's like kind of a dream come true. But at the end of the day, like I gotta say, like this is the most by the numbers kind of like mid. It's not like there's not interesting or good storytelling or even like good character design. I think Yasuke is just like a really good character design. Like character design work is phenomenal, but like Naue is just like really boring. Like it's just and now it's just like straight up just extremely boring as a character. Like her character plot arc is just just so boring. Yasuke's plot is like vastly more interesting, but like even then, it just like feels empty. Like the world doesn't feel as it's like beautiful to look at, but kind of feels at the end of the day like another Ubisoft game. Which, yeah, I mean, I'll give them some things like the combat is interesting because of the two different play styles. You can do stealth or you can be Yasuke, which is like you just swing a hammer around basically. Uh, I liked the two different ways of playing the game. I thought that was fun and interesting. Uh, but other than that, I was just like, it's kind of like mid, just kind of mid. Unfortunately, I wrote a review of it if you want to like get more in depth with what my thoughts are because I did have thoughts on like kind of like the history of these games and like kind of like my interaction with these games and I've been playing these games since like the first one and like all that. And I still think if you want like a game in this style and with samurai and whatever, just go play Ghost of Tsushima. It's like a much better game overall. So that's my take on Assassin's Creed Shadows. And your opinion on this is even more funny to me. Like you just how many hours did you play of Shadows?
Oh, how do I check that? Can I?
Probably it would be on like GeForce now or on Ubisoft.
Yeah, okay, assuming this Ubisoft login does not, it's Ubisoft's web properties. I mean, did you get out of like the first tutorials? Did you get out of the tutorial section? I took out the first, like you have the first ring of people you have to take out, right, to avenge your father's death. I took all of them out. So yeah. I don't know how far that is in the game. That was like 10 hours, right?
Did you get to play as Yasuke?
I was right about to unlock Yasuke. I got to the part where you were meeting up with Yasuke.
Okay, that's one of the big problems with this game, right? Like, you don't start, like, when you start the game, there's this whole tutorial section, basically, where the game introduces you to, like, one of the main characters, Naue, and, like, you don't get to play as Yasuke until, like 10 hours or so in. Like, you have to do a whole bunch of stuff without Yasuke before you get introduced to Yasuke. And, like, in the context of the story, it makes sense, but I just wish like they had found a way to make it that so you could still like there's a way to play Yasuke before them and Naue meet because
but for people who play regular video games, like you can't do something 10 hours in. Like I understand story wise too why you couldn't play as Yasuke, but I'm giving the game a college try. Like I should not have to put, this is gonna be so ironic. You're gonna make fun of me and like when we switch to our next topic, but I should not have to put 20 hours into a game to get to the good part. Okay, you know what funny. I mean?
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So what basically what happened was I can't log in Ubisoft right now because I don't have my phone nearby to do the 2-factor authentication thing. But so I got enough in. I cleared the full first assassination ring thing, whatever they're called, and I was like, this is kind of mid. Also, the PC version was buggy. Like FPS like very wildly. Like I would get like 100 FPS in some places and then like 40 in others. Like I don't know if ray tracing was bugged on it or something. It's really weird. I think it might have been an Nvidia specific issue.
I did not have that issue. Yeah, I did not have that issue, but frame rates were pretty stable for me most of the time. There were some places where there were definitely like there's like some sort of frame time issues for sure, but like most of the time it was pretty smooth.
Right, but still, so I was playing it, and then I was like, I wonder how Valhalla runs. Valhalla right now on GeForce Now 4080 tier is like like smooth 120 native 4K. So I just played 10 hours of Valhalla again and had a great time.
Yeah, I think the biggest sort of sentiment I came away from this is that Assassin's Creed as an RPG franchise, like which it is now, just doesn't hold up for me anymore because I played other big AAA RPGs that are just better, like just better to play mechanically, better to play from a narrative perspective. Like I gave examples of like, you know, Baldur's Gate 3, but there's also like older examples like The Witcher 3 or like Cyberpunk 2077, right? Like these games are doing the RPG stuff and they're doing the narrative stuff. They're doing the mechanics much, much better than like the open world RPG. But like, there's also like the Like a Dragon games for like if you want like a more JRPG format, like that stuff is also really good. Like there's a lot of good RPG if you like video game RPGs, right? Like so this just comes away as like really mid, you know, like it just comes away as like not interesting, you know, and like it's just not enough for me anymore. Like there was a time I would have enjoyed this because I didn't play other RPGs, but now that I played other RPGs, and I've enjoyed other RPGs and I know what I like in these games, like, you know, I'm not, like Assassin's Creed just, you know, it just doesn't work anymore. I guess, like that's the sad part of the review, is that it's just kind of sad to like come to this point where you're like, I don't enjoy this thing anymore. Like it's not for me anymore. So there's that.
I have a potentially hot take, I think, that I'm kind of workshopping right now. I feel like Assassin's Creed has sort of been it's like brain rot RPG, and like hear me out. So I feel like the way that Assassin's Creed has their stat numbers and all that stuff like set up where it's like a checklist style, it's like made by the same people who think that browsing like an Instagram or Meta platform analytics insight dashboard is a good use of your time.
I don't think that's actually a hot take. Like Ubisoft games, like especially these like there are these RPGs like they make is like a very like it's very bland, right? Like it's not interesting, right? It's not doing cool things like in the mechanics, like you know, it's just like numbers, like it's just numbers go up.
Yeah, it's RPGs for product managers.
RPGs for product managers. Yeah, it's very like the formula has gotten to a point where it's just like they have refined the formula, and to a certain extent, right? I don't mind the formula. Like sometimes I kind of want like, you know, the slop basically. Like, you know, like you kind of want like that kind of reliable way of like a Ubisoft game where you know you play the game a certain way and you can have some fun, you know, with the combat or whatever, right? But like at a certain point, you're like playing this game for like 80 hours or whatever, and you're like, you just like you get to the end and you're like, I don't feel satisfied. Like, you know, like I don't get any sense of narrative or other fulfillment, right? Like I'm just like I'm not like I've not mastered the game really. Like I abuse one weapon that's like overpowered and like I beat the whole game with it, and now I'm just like kind of bored. Like what do I do, right? Like it's just like, and I've not feel like fulfilled by the story or the mechanics. That's just it just feels it's like, you know, we talk about like the McDonald's of video games. Like, you know, this is just like Ubisoft games are just like the McDonald's of video games. Like you'll have a decent time, but like it's very like samey, you know. It's not that interesting. It's kind of bland. So yeah,
It's iconic.
oh god, I forgot about that's an old meme. Yeah, that's an old meme. So speaking of games that are I don't know how to transition out of this, but
iconic. Speaking about iconic franchises,
yeah, I mean, I guess it's iconic. That's true. I know it's actually iconic. You've been playing an RPG. Actually, you've been playing an MMORPG. You've been playing Final Fantasy 14. So how have you been getting along with FF14?
I have been playing the award-winning Final Fantasy 14. And did you know it had a free trial, or has rather, still does, a free trial up until level 70. So one of my coworkers plays this game and got me into it. And so I was playing it for a while. And okay, here's what got me. All right. And I did stop the Mastodon thread on it because I feel like you're about to start having people report for this. But there's player housing in Final Fantasy 14, right? And there's so many cuck chairs. It's wild. There's so many cuck chairs. So I was just like posting screenshots of cuck chairs onto Mastodon that I found in Final Fantasy 14. So this is a game actually because it's an MMO. So I think everyone's familiar with MMO. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on your keyboard lots of times while going up, down, left, right, right. You move around and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 continuously over again. That is the gameplay style of the game. There's jobs, various classes you can learn, all of that stuff. This is like how Destiny was for us back in 2015, 2017. The thing you do while fucking around with people on Discord.
Yeah. I mean, that's the appeal of an MMORPG or like an MMO, right? Is that it's the social, it's a social thing. Like you play a game and like kind of fuck around. It's like a social space more than it is like a video. Like it's like a video game in the form of a social space. So it's like I get it. I mean, that's kind of the reason I don't get along with MMORPGs because I like playing RPGs solo, which it's not as interesting to play FF14, by yourself. Because it's
right, and especially too because everyone in the Discord that I was playing with is like, yeah. I'm like, what's going on in this story right now? And like, oh, don't worry, 2 expansions in, it's when it gets good.
2 expansions, yeah. That's another reason I haven't. I tried to get into FF14, but MMORPGs just.
Yeah, level 70 is apparently where it gets good, which is when the trial ends. Shocker. Weird, funny how those two things line up. But
So do you like the story? Like, is that interesting to you? Like, I don't.
It's interesting enough. It's gotten me hooked enough. It's about crystals, which I've played enough Final Fantasy games to be okay with. But here's the problem, right? The story is interesting. I have people to play with. The gameplay is interesting enough. And then it's $15 a month. So, like, yes, pay for things, right? But Game Pass is only $12 a month, and I already pay. Well, I buy GeForce Now in 6-month increments, like $100 for the 4080 tier. So, like, my gameplay right now, like, I'll buy some games here and there, but honestly, it's GeForce Now plus Game Pass, right? PC Game Pass is kind of like the way I play games, just because financially on a month-to-month basis, it is cheaper than buying the games outright. Like, if I bought Doom, I bought this, right? It would be this is cheaper.
Yeah, you'd be paying a lot more. Yeah, you'd be paying a lot more per game, right?
So I know not for everyone because people like to own their stuff, right? It just works for me. Also, I refuse to use Windows. Like, even though you have a Pixel now, like, I don't have any of the Apple products. I will switch to Windows if I have to, but not because I want to. I would rather buy a Steam Deck if I could play all the games on it versus switching to a PC. But still, so it's just like it's another sub on top of it, and it's only fun when I'm playing with people. As soon as I start questing by myself, like, I just throw on podcasts and I zone out and listen to podcasts. And I have a game I can do that for free already. It's called Destiny 2. Like, I could do that in Destiny if I want to, right? So, like, I'm just swapping out what my zone out and listen to podcast games with, and this one comes with a sub and Destiny doesn't. So that's why I put it down for a little bit. I may check it back out and I may give it another go to see if I can get hooked into it on its own. But there are positives to it because that's any MMO. I feel like what I described is also honestly Destiny 2. Like, that's Destiny for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's the MMO thing, right? Like, it's kind of more. It is just more fun to play with other people when you're doing social group activities. Right? Like, playing an MMO solo is not fun. Like, the games are designed around social activities. So yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons I don't. Also, I found like mechanically doesn't get interesting until very later, which is another.
But the thing is, though, the important thing is, and I really, really want to give Square their flowers on this. The controller support in this game is fantastic. There's like it.
Yeah, because it's on consoles, right? So it's. I would hope that.
Yeah, it's on Xbox now and PlayStation 5 and 4. So the controller support in this is fantastic. The Mac version, I do want to give a shout out to the XIV 14 on Mac people, because there is a Let me pull it up here. I'm gonna put it in our show notes. Actually, XIV on Mac.
Like a wine thing, like some sort of like emulation.
So the native version is Wine, and XIV on Mac is basically like a crossover wrapper that has a lot of Apple Silicon specific stuff, and it actually runs really well on the M4 Mac Mini. Like it was, I can. So, and I don't blame the game for this, but because it's like a wine wrapper thing, you can't. Window size is tied to resolution. So my idea was to full screen, do 1080p, right, lower the resolution, and then just run with VRR enabled. You can't really do that because it's just how Wine works. But if I run in a 1080p window on my desktop, it's totally fine. I can get a lock 60 medium on an M4 Mac Mini, which is actually pretty great. So I'm really, really happy with actually the Mac build of it. And also too, it is playable on Xbox Cloud Gaming. It's surprisingly not on GeForce Now. Only WoW's the only MMO on GeForce Now, but still, there's more positives than not in the game. It's just that I don't know if I want to pay $15 a month for what Destiny 2 does for me.
Yeah, it is. $15 a month is like that's like that's a serious subscription. Like it's like you kind of have to commit to it. Like if you're not playing it, like it's kind of like a thing. Like you don't want to pay $15 a month and not play the game, right? So that's like our voxels episode today. It has been a while since we did our last one, so we're kind of rusty with the whole podcasting thing, but I think
we're trying to get back into it. I think more content creation stuff, get back into this. I think everyone has probably felt this year. Like I don't think it's related to me or you, but like has it just been hard finishing stuff? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just finishing something
yeah.
just seems difficult. And I think that's an everyone issue.
Yeah. And like, I think just like my mental state to like, it's just been difficult to like even start things or like, just like finish things, have motivation to start a creative project or write something or do a podcast. Like it just motivation at an all-time low, right? Like just because, various reasons, a lot of things happen. So yeah, it's just been kind of a difficult year so far. So, but I'm hoping like, at least in the summer that with the sun out a little bit, like, my mood clears up a bit. So that's hoping that, we can do a little bit more voxel stuff, because I do want to kind of do more.
Yeah. And for sure, we are going to do, 10, we jokes aside, there will be in July, I don't know, we got to record it sometime, probably record it beforehand, but there will be 10-year anniversary Shades of Brown episode just to cap it off. There will no be herp derps, but there will be Google Plus mentions.
Yeah, we'll talk about Google Plus. We can reminisce and all that.
What's libertarians on Google Plus?
We can talk about libertarians and Samsung Knights.
Were they really libertarians or fascists? Let's hold that. We'll hold that until then.
No,
we'll
hold that
those emotions.
As always, show notes on voxels.fm. You can find me on the Fediverse at PacketCat at 10forward. Social, you can find my blog where I put like stuff like book reviews. If you like reading about books, go on nullrouted.space and put it in your RSS feed reader and all that. And where do people find you?
So, talking about things from a decade ago, I set up recently a little link tree thing, but I'm using Gravatar as God intended, the OG link service. So, lo-fi-carrots.link has all of my sites. I have lo-fi-carrots.blog, where I did have a blog series go on where I was doing daily reviews of key anime episodes, and I got to Air, which is so bad. So here's okay. I'm gonna do. I should post this somewhere that's not on a podcast. It's not related to that blog at all. But I started watching Air, and right now there's an anime called Summer Pockets airing, right? They're both guy goes to island and has Clannad style anime experience, right? But Summer Pockets was released almost a decade 15 years after Air, right? The visual novel. Summer Pockets is so much better. This Summer Pockets is a good show. So what I am doing is, because I cannot keep watching Air, it's actually going to kill me.
Yeah, I was wondering what was happening with that.
It's so bad. I'm actually going to do a blog post when Summer Pockets is finished airing, just doing a comparison between the both before I move on to Clannad. So I'm waiting until Summer Pockets finish airing. I'm gonna do a big post going over the 2 in-house Summer Pockets. It's a much better idea, and you can honestly just skip Air. Because I also really don't want to finish watching it. Like, I will spoil it right now. I don't think you care if you podcast listeners, if you want spoilers of this, by all means skip ahead. But so Air is a guy goes to an island, meets a 16-year-old girl whose drunk mom lets him move in with her during the summer to take her to summer classes. And then it turns out that he's actually reincarnated as he was his warrior back in like the 1600s when she was a ninja fighter. So you have a time thing where they go back to it, and then he reincarnates as a bird to watch her for the rest of his life in 12 episodes.
Yeah, man, anime has gotten a lot worse in some ways. I'd say that seems
no, Air got a lot better, because Summer Pockets is way better than Air. Air is from 2006. Summer Pockets is from this year. So I mean, look, okay, anime has probably gone bad. Okay, we're gonna rant about anime for a minute.
Yeah, I'll just talk about more generally. I like the premise almost sounds like, that's like kind of boring. Like,
so I'm watching another show right now. Okay, I'm watching another. It's called Can a Boy Girl Friendship Survive? And basically it's about this girl who wants to be a model and this guy who does like handmade flower earrings things, right? He like preserves a flower, puts them in like ornaments, right, for like different jewelry and accessory he makes. And every adult in this show is shitty. Like, so this week's episode, there was a contest where someone's trying to scout out the model girl that he's trying to get with to move to Tokyo and from their small town. And he's like, well, we'll have a contest. If I blow you away with my piece, she gets to stay. And she's like, sure. Already, people fighting over a woman's agency is already cringy enough as is. But in the episode, the guy's sister rats out to the talent scout saying that his pieces have been refunded in the past. So he loses the competition because of his older sister's like going to grow to all these kids are in high school, ratting him out. It's like every adult in this show is shitty. And I'm sitting there like, I'm as someone who's pushing 30, unfortunately, I'm like, these are kids. What are we doing here? Everyone is like, all these adults are like 25 and up. Like, you all know better than that. Like, I just got so mad. I got so mad at that show. So you know what? Fuck anime.
Yeah, fuck anime. That's the Voxel's motto. At this point, it's fuck anime. Don't watch anime. Read a book or whatever. I don't know. Probably. I mean, to do whatever you want, but probably avoid anime. So that's Voxel's episode 14. Thank you for listening. We'll be back whenever we're back. This podcast is not on a schedule. This is pretty obvious. So that whatever the next episode airs, we'll see you then. And bye.
Bye.